Hello and welcome to a special bonus episode of Palace Intrigue. I am your host, Mark Francis. The royal family has paid tribute to Pope Francis, who has died at the age of 88 after a lifetime dedicated to the service of the Church. In a heartfelt message issued by Buckingham Palace, His Majesty King Charles III spoke movingly of the late pontiff's legacy and his own personal sorrow. "My wife and I were most deeply saddened to learn of the death of Pope Francis," the King said. "Our heavy hearts have been somewhat eased, however, to know that His Holiness was able to share an Easter greeting with the Church and the world he served with such devotion throughout his life and ministry. His Holiness will be remembered for his compassion, his concern for the unity of the Church, and for his tireless commitment to the common causes of all people of faith and to those of goodwill who work for the benefit of others. His belief that care for creation is an existential expression of faith in God resounded with so many across the world. Through his work and care for both people and planet, he profoundly touched the lives of so many. The Queen and I remember with particular affection our meetings with His Holiness over the years, and we were greatly moved to have been able to visit him earlier in the month. We send our most heartfelt condolences and profound sympathy to the Church he served with such resolve, and to the countless people around the world who, inspired by his life, will be mourning the devastating loss of his faithful follower of Jesus Christ." Their Majesties most recently met Pope Francis in Rome just weeks ago during an official visit to Italy. At the time, the Pope was recovering from double pneumonia, and it was unclear whether the meeting would take place. However, in what one senior palace official described as the most significant and indeed moving thing of the entire visit, the Pope requested to see the King and Queen personally. Buckingham Palace released a photograph from the encounter showing Queen Camilla warmly shaking the pontiff's hand while the King stood smiling beside her, holding a small red gift box. The image was captioned on the royal family's official X account with the Italian phrase, "Che occasione speciale," what a special occasion. The palace noted that their Majesties were deeply touched by the Pope's kind words regarding their 20th wedding anniversary. The Pope wanted personally to wish them a happy anniversary, the official added, not least because it hadn't been possible to do the state visit on this occasion. The King and Queen's most recent visit marked the first private audience between a British monarch and the head of the Catholic Church in over a decade. The late Queen Elizabeth II had a personal audience with Pope Francis in 2014 during a brief stop in Rome. Now attention turns to the Vatican, where preparations for the funeral and subsequent conclave are underway. Vatican protocol dictates that a period of at least 15 days must pass before cardinals begin the process of selecting a new pope in the Sistine Chapel. The King, whose deep personal admiration for the late pontiff has been well documented, is said to be considering changes to the royal diary in order to attend the funeral. Among the engagements potentially affected are the traditional Buckingham Palace garden parties, which typically begin in spring and honour individuals from across the nation for public service. This would not be the first time Charles has altered royal plans in the wake of a papal death. In 2005, as Prince of Wales, he delayed his own wedding to Camilla by 24 hours so that he could attend the funeral of Pope John Paul II. He stood alongside Prime Minister Tony Blair and Archbishop Rowan Williams in St. Peter's Square, a rare moment of deference that underscored the gravity of the occasion. A senior royal aide at the time noted, "The Pope's funeral must take priority," and Charles, then heir to the throne, was reportedly keen to show both respect and sensitivity, given the complex historical relationship between the Crown and the Vatican. That gesture, remarkable then, may well be repeated. King Charles has met with 3 pontiffs over the years, John Paul II, Benedict XVI, and Francis, on a total of 5 visits to the Holy See. Queen Elizabeth II also met Pope Francis during her reign in 2014. As head of the Church of England, the King's presence at the funeral of the Bishop of Rome would carry both diplomatic and symbolic weight. It would also reinforce the spirit of interfaith cooperation which Pope Francis championed so ardently throughout his pontificate, and which Charles himself has increasingly embraced. For now, Buckingham Palace remains in close contact with the Vatican. Any adjustments to the royal calendar will be announced in due course. More Palace in just a moment. His Majesty had met Pope Francis on several prior occasions, most recently in 2019 at the canonization of Cardinal John Henry Newman, and in 2017 during an official visit to Rome as Prince of Wales. His first post-divorce audience with the pontiff took place in 2009, when he and the then Duchess of Cornwall were received by Pope Benedict XVI. While Pope Francis did not attend Queen Elizabeth's funeral in 2022, Owing to ongoing health concerns, he sent a representative, Liverpool-born Cardinal Michael Fitzgerald, who spoke on his behalf. Pope Francis, the first Jesuit pope and the first from the Americas, was known for his humility, theological openness, and concern for the poor and the environment. He led the Catholic Church from 2013 until his passing. GB News royal correspondent Cameron Walker reported Union flags are being lowered to half-mast above royal residences following the death of Pope Francis. Somber music will be played at today's guard change, and it is likely a member of the royal family will attend the funeral. Sarah Ferguson shared on social media praising the late pontiff. No better example of total humility and kindness and compassion. Thank you for leading us not just with words, but with your unwavering service to humanity. Any omissions of a remembrance by other officials, notably the Wales and Sussex families, is not any sort of commentary. We're just moving fast as we are reacting to a developing story. This script was written at 10:30 a.m. on Monday morning. We'll be back with our regular episode tomorrow, and as always, we'll drop a bonus episode if events warrant. I'm Mark Francis. My thanks to John McDermott. This has been a special bonus episode of Palace Intrigue.
For 2,000 years, it has been the world's most secretive election. When a pope dies, ancient traditions begin. A silver hammer strikes his forehead 3 times. A ring is destroyed. Within hours, princes of the church travel to Rome from every corner of the globe. They will be locked away from the world. No phones, no internet, no contact with the outside. In a chapel beneath the judgment of Michelangelo, they will choose the next leader of 1 billion faithful. From Calaroga Shark Media comes White Smoke, the path to a new pope, an unprecedented journey into the hidden world of papal transition. From the death of a pope to the election of his successor, we reveal the ancient rituals, secret traditions, and sacred ceremonies that have endured for centuries. How does the Catholic Church choose its leader? What happens in those days between popes? Why do millions watch a chimney for signs of white smoke? This is the story of the most elaborate and consequential transfer of power humanity has ever devised. White Smoke, the path to a new pope. Wherever you get your podcasts.